Former Vice President and lovable loon Al Gore has declared that global warming is the principal cause of the civil war in Syria and of the Brexit vote in the UK. Oh, really? Weird Al made the comments during an interview in London. Then he spun the propeller on his striped beanie and predicted that if he got it going fast enough, he'd be able to fly around the room and cool the atmosphere at the same time. Gore's theory is that droughts in Syria forced people to move into cities where stupid Obama policies had caused the rise of ISIS, so British voters opted to leave the oppressive EU, and therefore everyone should give Al Gore even more money. Something like that. Wiping the drool from his chin while handlers rebuttoned his shirt properly, the man who was once, so help me, very nearly president of the United States, for crying out loud, went on to say, quote, "I predicted all the way back in 1996 that if we did not take drastic measures, we would all die by 2006. It's lucky I was able to bring everyone back to life using my magic powers and make them forget the entire incident with the memory ray hidden in my wristwatch. But believe you me, it was a close call," unquote. Gore's amazing ability to predict environmental disasters makes him only the latest in a long line of environmental disaster predictors whose uncanny accuracy and exactitude are matched only by the absurdity of their gibberish. For instance, in 1970, environmental scientists predicted that by 1985, air pollution would reduce the amount of sunlight reaching the Earth by 1/2. I'm not making this up. This led environmentalists to predict an ice age by the year 2000, which is why it got so dark and cold 17 years ago. Though actually that may just be because I passed out in the bathtub and didn't regain consciousness until 2 in the morning. Then, of course, there was the prediction that the world would experience a population bomb. In this scenario advanced back in the 1960s, population was going to increase so fast that soon people would swarm through our cities like locusts, devouring everything in their path, including other human beings, unless Brad Pitt could make it to Wales and find the cure. This prediction of the exact plot of World War Z more than 60 years in advance still stands as an awe-inspiring example of environmentalist accuracy in predicting ludicrous fantasies. Environmentalists have also predicted that our oil would run out and that there would be widespread famine, which is amazing because my oil actually did run out just yesterday, and by the time I walked to the gas station, I was starving. One thing is certain, though, as long as Al Gore is alive, the climate will continue to experience huge intermittent gusts of hot air, followed by intense periods of side-splitting hilarity. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped, ipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
Here we go. We got a lot to talk about today, but let us begin with our new sponsor, Stamps.com. And the reason I love this new sponsor is because I have this thing about waiting online. I don't even know. We don't really wait online that much anymore. It used to be like movies. You had to wait online to get in the movies. And I would wait until the line had gone in, even if it meant sitting in the back or whatever. I wouldn't care. I'd take the last seat because I just hate waiting online. I never drive on the freeways. I'd rather move quickly, even if it's longer, go back. The one place where you still have to wait online is the post office. I mean, I love the post office. They do a great job, give them props. But when you go there, you have to wait online. And, of course, it's not always open. But Stamps.com, always open, and you don't have to wait anywhere. You sit at your computer. You can print out your stamps. You basically buy the stamps online, print them out, put your envelope in the printer, and you can print them right onto the envelope. You can print them onto stickers. You can print labels, all kinds of things. And you don't need one of those enormous, what are they called? Those stamp machines that you get in businesses that if you drop it on your foot, basically you have to limp around forever. You don't need anything like that. They will send, you don't know. I'm just making this up. No, it's true. This is easy, reliable. You get it and they'll even send you a free stamp scale so you know exactly how much to put on. It's amazing. So use Stamp.com. It's just the easiest way to do this stuff. I mean, it is, and it's never closed. And you can enjoy the stamp service with a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale without long-term commitments. Go to Stamps.com and you click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Klavan. Find out how it's spelled and let me know. No, it's Klavan. That's stamp.com and enter Klavan, Klavan. Stamps.com. Never have to go to the post office again. Good stuff. All right, and while I'm selling things, by the way, we're going to be talking a lot about feminism today, and we had this. We sent Knowles to see Beauty and the Beast, our best-selling cultural correspondent and super troll Michael Knowles. We sent him to see Beauty and the Beast. My daughter, Faith Moore, has written a brilliant piece about Beauty and the Beast and why it is not, in fact, the new Beauty and the Beast, and why it's not, in fact, feminism. She writes on parenting and things at PJ Media, and she is a Disney princess addict. And in fact, she has a website on Facebook, Disney Princess Addict. So you can go on Facebook.com/Disney Princess Addict, and you can see my daughter being a Disney Princess Addict. And I know our producer Jonathan Hay loves those Disney princesses. I worry about you a little bit. I'm not sure whether it's the long flowing blue gown or the fact that you talk to squirrels that makes you a little strange. But anyway, go and see that Disney Princess Addict. All right, so. Yesterday, and this has been kind of the theme for the week, we were talking about hysteria and narrative, okay? And why I think because the left does not believe in truth, because at the base they have this relativistic worldview. They think that the truth is a story that you tell, and whoever has the most power gets to tell the story. That's what, remember that book Roots, Alex Haley, it starts with history is written by the winners, which isn't actually true, but that was a very catchy phrase. History is written by the winners. And the left wants to make sure that they are telling the story because they think that gives them power over your mind, which to some extent it does, because people are swept away in this narrative that they form. In order to get power, they have two very essential tools. One is silence and one is crisis, okay? And both those tools are in evidence in the news today. And I want to start with silence because this story drove me a little nuts. I mean, this is the story about Planned Parenthood. Remember, California prosecutors on Tuesday charged two anti-abortion activists who made undercover videos of themselves trying to buy fetal tissue from Planned Parenthood. They charged them with 15 felonies, saying they invaded the privacy of medical providers by filming without consent. So Planned Parenthood, killing babies, selling their body parts for cash, not a problem, but taking pictures of them and catching them, doing this, that's the problem. And remember, that's Klavan's second rule of mainstream media news coverage is if the scandal is on the right, the story is the scandal. If the scandal is on the left, the story is how did you get that information, right? So this is a perfect example of that rule in operation. Then the law, this is tyranny. It's tyranny. And all the press, they were so shocked by Donald Trump saying the news media is the enemy of the people. This is horrible. Where are they today? These are journalists. They're going in. Now, when this happened, the actual video, which I'll show you in a minute, is so shocking. It really is people just bartering away the limbs of murdered children, basically, for money, for cash. So the press came out with this thing, and the way the press these things are heavily edited. They're heavily edited. So they released the whole, you can watch the entire thing. Eventually you could watch the entire thing. No editing, it wasn't it may have been edited for space, for time, but it didn't change the narrative one little bit. So when I first came to the Daily Wire, I made a video making fun, and we're laughing because I made this was the first. I think it was the first video I ever did, wasn't it? I made this video because I was livid. I saw these videos, and I was livid at the way the mainstream media was burying this story. So we all worked so hard on this video. It took us weeks, didn't it, to bring? Yeah. Oh man! So I was pretending to be the mainstream media news man, and we would release the videos of this thing and how they were being covered. This thing shocked our bosses so much because we were just getting to know one another. I shouldn't have led with it, but it was the story. It set me off. I shouldn't have led with it. And they looked at this and they thought, we don't want our names on this. And they made us cut the words Daily Wire off. Now, if I did it today, I think now they kind of get it. And we all kind of know each other better and they understand where I was coming from. Let me just play one. I don't like to play my old videos because you can look them up, but I just got to play 1 minute of this. This is me as the mainstream media news anchor introducing these secret videos.
Good evening. This is the MSM News Desk, bringing you all the news that fits.
a group of conservative, right-wing conservatives have been releasing a series of hidden camera videos taken at Planned Parenthood facilities around the country. These far-right, icky conservative videos are heavily edited to make it look like Planned Parenthood kills babies and sells their body parts for medical experiments. Well, all right, Planned Parenthood does do that, but these videos try to make it seem like that's not okay. This video, for instance, entraps one of Planned Parenthood's most respected doctors in an admittedly awkward moment.
I love sitting at the children's table. It's another boy. Say you love Planned Parenthood.
Something about the devil eating babies didn't sit well with our new bosses. You know, they didn't know me. You know, they had never met us. But this is essentially really what this story. Take a look. This is Dr. Mary Gatter, the president of Planned Parenthood's Medical Director Council, being caught. She's negotiating. They call it tissue, but it's body parts.
What would you expect for intact tissue? What sort of compensation? What sort of...
Well, why don't you start by telling me what you're used to paying?
Okay. I don't think so. I would like to know what would make you happy. What would work for you?
Well, you know, in negotiations, the person who throws out the figure first is at a loss, right? So...
No, I don't look at it that way. I know you want to play that game. I get it, but I want
low ball because I'm used to low things from.
You know what? If you low ball, I'll act pleasantly surprised, and you'll know it's a low ball.
Okay.
What I want to know is what would work for you. Don't low ball it.
Okay.
Tell me what you really.
$75 a specimen.
Oh, that's way too low. That's way too low. I want to keep you happy.
I've been at places that did 50 too. But see, we're not in it for the money.
We're not in it for the money. It's like, yeah, but we'll take the money, but we're not in it for the money. You know, so the thing is, remember the formula. The formula is to acquire power so that you control the narrative, because the narrative is the truth. And one of the tools, there are really two, it's like a pincer movement. On one hand, there is silence, and on the other hand, there is crisis. And this is silence. They're silencing these people. They're not going to get away with this. The Supreme Court has already ruled that a news organization can do this kind of secret video stuff if it's in public. California has a law that I can't tape you on the phone in a private conversation, but this is not going to cover that. They don't care. They're just intimidating journalists. They want to make sure you know Planned Parenthood, the abortion mill of Planned Parenthood, is off limits. And by the way, they call their movement pro-choice, right? They call it pro-choice. There is no choice involved. They do not want. Remember when they had that women's march, the women's march, I guess it was in January, they banned women who were pro-life from sponsoring the march. And Katha Pollitt, who is Katha Pollitt, who writes for the liberal Journal of the Nation, then wrote an article, Can Feminists Be Pro-Choice? Are feminists? And she says, well, she can be anti-abortion for herself, and many pro-choice women are, but rights and personal ethics are not the same. I don't see how restricting and criminalizing abortion, bullying women on their way into the clinic, and pushing lies that abortion will give you breast cancer, make you infertile, or lead to a life's worth of misery are compatible with respecting other women's rights to make their own moral decisions in an area where people... She left out one thing. All that stuff may be untrue, but she left out the true one, the one where it's killing babies. That's the problem. The problem is not... It's always about... They're always telling you about women's... What do they call it? Reproduction rights. Women's. You notice they never use the words. They never use the words. It's like they never say. They don't even say abortion really anymore. You know. And this is feminism in a nutshell. By the way, feminism. You know, there's that woman Anita Sarkeesian who is always yelling about girls in video games are sexist objects and all this stuff, and they better be, because otherwise I'm not playing. But she basically tweeted out, feminism is about the collective liberation of women as a social class. It's not about personal choice. You don't have a personal choice to stay home. There was a woman, Australia, New Zealand, I can't remember, a feminist in Australia, I think it was, who said women should not be allowed to stay home and be homemakers. And this, by the way, this was from the very beginning, Simone de Beauvoir, who wrote one of the most famous initial original feminist tracts. I think it was called The Second Sex. She said the same thing. Women should not be allowed to be homemakers because too many of them will choose that. That's why. It's not, none of this is about choice. It's all about silence. So that's silence on the one side, and the other side is crisis, okay? Everything has to be a crisis. I'm going to talk about this. Come on over. We got to say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube. I forgot to say it's the mailbag today. Yeah. I totally forgot to talk about the mailbag. If you don't come over to thedailywire.com to hear the rest of the show, you cannot hear the mailbag, in which all your problems will be solved. How could you miss that? If you subscribe, you can ask your own personal questions for a lousy $8 a month.